around in their cave. Are we all good? Yeah. Sure. So I think mental health is a very important one and often kind of not given that kind of an importance, right? So that's the other M that I'll say was predominantly one of the reasons, and I'll talk through that. It takes a little bit of a courage, even still after many years, to be on a platform or be socially talking about it. But I'll try and kind of gather that courage to speak through it, in a way, and let's see if this kind of resonates with few people. This goes, I'll have to take you through a bit of my kaleidoscope of life to flashback to answer that question. And sometime back in November 2016, after kind of 17 years of corporate career and gathering, expensive learning through my own entrepreneurship, I took up a courageous decision to disengage with my startup and get back to a main field corporate job. And by the way, even the journey of getting the job, post my entrepreneurship wasn't easy. I'll perhaps cover later, in one of your questions, all that I did during the phase and, when I was in that hyper job search mode. But fast forward November 2016, I took up a new assignment as a vice president of a SaaS organization based out of Gurgaon. And I think alongside an exciting job, being a mother of two daughters, wife, daughter, daughter-in-law, and juggling between, all the roles and responsibility, life pretty much seemed like back on track. And on the side, I would say, just like everyone, I had growing anxiety that my parents will not be around forever. But I used to give a comforting kind of a counter response to myself that it's not coming anytime soon. And when the time comes, I will have the mental strength and the ecosystem to deal with it. Little did I know that I'm going to be caught totally unprepared. A month into my leadership role, my mother met with a brain stroke. And in 10 days of fighting it in the hospital, we lost her. I resumed back work, though, on the 4th day of her demise. And I think thinking back now, getting back to work was therapeutic and certainly kept me distracted. I soon soaked myself in work. And I think just so that, you all know about this, besides the, emotional jolt that one goes through of losing a near and dear one, it's also the ecosystem that goes for a toss, right? My mother used to take care and babysit my kids while I used to be away. So that also kind of, went out of the window in a way. So, but ironically, life pretty much came back to, BAU, and come January 2017, I wasn't expecting this another, emotional jolt, but my father started to complain of lack of appetite and, general weakness, while these were all very generic symptoms, but, his reports revealed that he was in the advanced stage of liver cancer. And pretty much I remember that, everything came to a standstill then. I just stood there frozen. And all I wanted to do at that moment was to just free up my, mind share to handle all that life was kind of throwing at me. We lost him also in less than a month's time, post my mother's demise. And I took, honestly, like a sabbatical of not 2, but 2.5, closer to 3 years of losing my parents to take time to heal and for my own self-care. And quite honestly, while healing can be a lifelong kind of a process, but joining an organization as inclusive as LinkedIn, of course, has helped me to recoup and find a bigger purpose. And on that, I'll just kind of note is life is not going to be linear for anyone. There'll be several twists and turns, and more so, I feel, in the journey of women's career trajectory, right? But, I think we should all just kind of remember that that are new age organizations and leaders do recognize and acknowledge this, and we should also embrace it, through wherever we are in our career journey. So, yeah. So mental health would be the other one. Yeah.
I remember you said it's another M, and it's truly heavy to know. And I know that everybody has to go through it once in their life, twice in their lives. And probably taking a break was a big decision that you really needed to take, because if your mind is not in good health, you can't do anything, you can't get things done. And on that note, since it was like mentally a very turbulent time for you, you lost both your parents in just a span of around 2 years. Within 2 years, yes, I'm pretty sure getting back to work must have needed a lot of changing your mindset. And how did you like manage the transition back into the workforce? Because a lot of women here, again, mental health, they're trying to like manage their time with kids and elders at home, and they're doing a lot.
Yeah,
So
sure.
how how do you like get back into the mindset of going back into the workforce? How do you build that mindset first? Because it all starts in the mind first. So, how was your mental journey through like a very broken, fragile state of mind to like making up your mind to getting into the workforce? And then finally, once you joined the workforce, how did you transition back into it?
Sure, Aditi. Thanks for the question. And just a slight bit of a correction, there wasn't 2 years. I lost them in the span of 2 months, by the way. So it was as short a span for that. But yeah, coming back to your question, I think returning back to work was an absolute daunting task. It wasn't easy, even in spite of the fact that I was excited, happy with the offer that I had in hand. It was all about resuming back was looking like a very huge mountain hill that I'd built in my mind as well, right? So that was the next challenge in hand. And first thing first, I think my advice and something that worked for me and I kind of pass that on is ensuring that you have a very strong support group. Create an ecosystem that kind of enables you to put things in an autopilot mode. That was very important critical element, I would say, that sets anyone for success. And when we're away, our loved ones are taken care. And I know how we keep getting kind of pulled into, we're in office but usually kind of thinking back of what's happening at home. And it's difficult for, I would say, sometimes more for women to disconnect, right? So do create kind of a robust ecosystem for yourself that enables you to work and set you up for success. The other would be to lead with curiosity. I think most important for me was to look around, and kind of reach out to anyone, ask questions, try and understand a lot more, have a better handle of product, process, and people. I was trying to learn from everyone around, to the extent that I think I kind of intimidated a few, and looking at me, they started to kind of run away, thinking that this girl usually has a laundry list of questions, ready with her to check in. But yeah, I think leading a lot with curiosity and helped me, answer a lot of things, be prepared for the role. Other aspect would be, I would say, take it in a phase manner. It's important that you prioritize. I remember early in the role, there was so much that I was juggling with, in the sense, newer job, of course it was a leadership role, and then new team dynamics and everything on the plate together. I think it was very important for me to prioritize at what was business critical and what can wait. So I'll say, kind of do a effort and impact kind of analysis, and don't try and boil the ocean at one go, because I don't think you'll be able to achieve that. And what else? I think it's going to sound a bit of a cliche, but 30, 60, 90-day plan for my own self, right? Of what I was wanting to achieve and do in that span, was also one of the critical things that I did. And of course, continue to stay nimble and adaptive, on whatever you're seeing around. Uh, I might just sound a little privileged because I did land myself in an opportunity with LinkedIn, with an inclusive culture, that I didn't face any bias as such for my career break. But my sole recommendation to everyone here today in this forum would be not to be hard on yourself. Be intentional in your efforts, and the results will follow. There's a job out there for everyone. Yeah, Aditi.
Thank you for boiling it down to three very crisp and strong points. Uh, at the end of the day, I think the onus lies on women themselves to like set themselves for success into the corporate world. One question that always gets asked is, as women, since they're juggling so much, it's like they're doing like 10 things in a day. It's not an easy task, and once they go on a break, they're also expected to upskill themselves, and probably they might not get the time to upskill themselves. So what is your take on it? How should women, upskill themselves? How should they look at the skills that they should be upskilling themselves in? And how can they like manage their time better to be industry ready? Because a lot of recruiters, like if LinkedIn is the recruiter, then it's like the best case scenario. But some recruiters are not that progressive and they are a little orthodox in their practices, and they do sound judgmental when they ask you about your career break and if you gain any relevant skills during the break. So, what is your take on how women should react in a situation like this?
It's a very pertinent question. And, in an ideal world, if we should invest in upskilling, keeping abreast with any kind of latest technology. And this is pretty much a binary question with a big yes as my response, right? But however, I think time commitment during the break isn't necessarily possible. You're not going to be the only one, firstly, who's going to face the challenge. So firstly, I think please don't create any kind of a self-limiting barrier through any presumptions, and try, of course, keeping that imposter syndrome, that jargon that we made, around at bay. Just like I think many others, in spite of all the honest intent, Aditi, I couldn't take out the time for my personal professional growth as much as I would have liked to, during my career break. However, a few best practices I can do share, of what helped me was, of course, to keep in touch with your professional network, try and see how you can grow your professional network. And that kind of also that was one of the most powerful part of the whole thing, right? um, I did a lot of proactive outreaches to the hiring communities, hiring managers of different organizations. And come to think of it, upskilling doesn't not necessarily have to be like a formal school training or a program. There are several online platforms, available today. Of course, LinkedIn Learning being one of them, which can be leveraged to do these bite-sized courses anytime and anywhere, across a huge spectrum of whether you're kind of interested in enhancing your behavioral, functional, your technical skills, or even your business skills. And depending upon the sphere of your interest, or your skill gaps that you want to kind of double down on, you should look at what are the ways in which you can future ready yourself, right? I think the other I would say is stay plugged in while you're on and off. Keep yourself aware of your surroundings, of how the business dynamics is evolving, the role of, let's say, the networking in a new digital world, the significance of social selling. Keep yourself, I would say, up to speed on any changes that you're seeing in the industry as you prepare for being job ready. You should, I think, approach certainly, like these inclusive organizations that do have returner programs. And I know a lot of organizations do that doesn't marginalize or and give equal opportunities to women in spite of the fact that they've had career breaks. By the way, at LinkedIn, we consider them as non-traditional hires, and there's a lot of encouragement for such women because they do bring in a lot of diversity of thoughts. I would say that there are several organizations that run these returner programs. Do research and try and kind of invest your time in in reaching out to the right ones, right? And of course, like a no-brainer would be to ensure that it's okay. That you're kind of rethinking your resume to make sure it conveys your belief, your confidence, uh, your industry terminologies, and you're kind of up to speed on all that aspects of it, right? Lastly, I think my advice would be that job search and interview will be to make sure that you're honest and authentic about the career break. I think important that you kind of own up your story, and it's just okay, right? You've had a career break. You can just go out there in your interview and say the kind of reasons for which you've had. I think most organizations do respect it, their vulnerability. So just be proud of your story and own it with confidence would be my suggestion.
Thank you, Pooja, for like giving them a ray of hope in having taking pride in their own story and their own journey, because everybody has a different journey and it's all right. So, in your experience, besides the regular channel of applying to roles and waiting for a response, what else do you think will help the returning professionals find their next play?
Sure, Aditi. Thanks for that question. Maybe what I'll do is run you through my profile in a bit, but just jumping into answering that question, I think some of the best practices, of course, I did cover up would be, one of them to proactively outreach, your network and connect with the hiring managers. That's something that really goes without saying. There are a lot of opportunity in reaching out and leveraging, or let's say you're kind of very aspirational about an organization, right? So maybe a lot of employees also can be helpful because there are strong referral programs, that certain organizations run. So that's going to be another recommendation, that see an opportunity to leverage your referral. Visit, these LinkedIn company pages to understand what's the life like at these specific companies. Ensure that you're accurately tagging your profile and as open to finding a new job, because the algorithm of LinkedIn really works like that from a search engine perspective. Invest time in enhancing your LinkedIn profile to create a personal brand. I think endorsements are very important part of it. So if you've worked with people in the past who can endorse your work, do kind of try and reach out to them if you're going through some challenge right now to get a job. There at LinkedIn, we now do have these skill assessments. So these are online tests, for self-assessment. So you should do that. I'll, soon kind of just jump into the profile to show you how it's done. But I think that's a very important piece of the whole thing. And I think if just perhaps, if there is any area, then you must kind of showcase your passion, your credibility by your certificates, right? So whether you've done any kind of a specific course or, you're doing currently, you're learning, whether it's LinkedIn Learning or any other platform, my suggestion to you would be do showcase those certificates, talk through about your credentials. If you've been a part of any of the media, and marketing collaterals, do share them here, share those case studies. Like it makes your resume a lot more because credible, right? What else could that be? Yeah, I think LinkedIn, kind of truly respects that career breaks can be for varied reasons and ranging from voluntary work to reasons like caregiving or even full-time parenting. Some people, of course, we've seen a lot of these trends in global, but not so much in India. But travel has been one big reason why women have, stepped down from their jobs at times. We haven't been so courageous or giving it, due importance. But LinkedIn has these 13 drop-down options, which I'll kind of show you, for which you can accurately kind of select and showcase the reason of your break. So I think once you're flexing the full advantage of your LinkedIn profile, one will be amazed to see the difference it can make in your career. So I kind of highly encourage you to do that.
It's fascinating to see that LinkedIn has covered like travel from literally very serious reasons to reasons that could possibly be seen as just sort of just like a breakaway from the mainstream into the enjoying life sort of a way. So it's I can definitely sense how accommodating LinkedIn truly is, and how layered you can build your profile. The more details you can put in, probably the better access you have to opportunities present on LinkedIn. With that, I would really I want you to answer one question, super critical. Looking back now, what would you have told yourself at the start of this journey?
Yeah, that actually takes me back, right? I think it's a sum total of our life experiences that form our worldviews, right? Isn't it? And our personality. I wish was a bit kinder, I would have told myself, right? Looking back, it just seems like resuming back work was the biggest life goal I had at that point. I'm not saying that it's trivial. It's very important piece, of the journey. But my advice will be to, practice a bit of a self-compassion and empathy. It's important. Remember that with the right attitude, aptitude, there's nothing that can come in the way. I'm sure, because I've seen this through my trajectory, and come out of this whole journey a lot more confident, wiser, and stronger, both professionally and personally, So I'll advise you to just be a little more kinder to yourself if you're and be at it, be very persistent. Of course, kind of continue with the search, but with empathy.
That's a very sweet that's like some sweet words of encouragement, because I think as women we tend to be a little hard on ourselves than we should. Half the time we're dealing with imposter syndrome, and it's important to like pat your own back sometimes and lead the way for your own self, because we've been doing it for like everybody around us, and we got to do it for ourselves. So thank you so much, Pooja, for like pointing it out and reminding everybody here to be kinder to oneself. So would you like share like some of the best practices and tips for women looking to return back to work on how they can leverage and untap the power of LinkedIn?
Sure, Aditi, I'll do that. And I think just before we jump on to the, so to say, the best practices, one of the things I'll kind of also double down to, the audience here would be to ensure that they're focusing on, their skills. The newer trend that we're seeing, in the hiring is that there is 45% of recruiters searching through these skills, right? So just making sure that you're double downing, and this doesn't necessarily have to be any technological skills, so to say, right? In fact, I'll speak through the transferable skills as well, which can be agnostic of any of the industries and will continue to be with you irrespective of which kind of organization you join. So make sure that you kind of always looking at avenues to enhance that. I did speak about courses that you can do online, but that's something that I just wanted to come back here, because you may not have the most wanted skills, but you can of course develop them, right? Isn't it? A deep dive into your experience may reveal that you have those sought after transferable skills are extremely desirable by any of these organizations, because they also don't have to invest and train you on those skills, and they kind of you're ready to on a get-go day, right? And these could be skills like problem solving, critical thinking, leadership, adaptability, and honestly, like no school has ever taught one, right? I mean, you can do a lot of courses. There is management books, there is Kotler, there is so much that you can read through it. But important that you showcase all that accurately on your profile as well, right? I just thought, I'll build that up before I kind of jump to showcasing the profile. Does that help?
Absolutely, because I think one of the most common doubts also is that once you go on a break, probably the skills that you had before that, they sort of turn obsolete, and they need to understand how to leverage their old skills in the new industry scenario. So thank you for like sharing that this is the way to go about it.
Sure. And now jumping to your question on the best practices, let me know if you can see my screen as well, right? Just a moment.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to see. Yeah, we can.
So I am here on my profile. I'm happy to kind of take you through and, kind of just amplify a few things that's been working in my favor, and, what are the best practice in general to follow, right? The profile banner, which is the place that you see here, which is the, where I have the International Women's Day banner, is a place for you to showcase anything that you resonate with deeply. It could be a quote, it can be something to do with, let's say, your marketing, and digital marketing is heavily in demand. You want to kind of showcase that. I highly encourage you. A lot of people leave this blank, but it's a important piece. And let's remember that our profile is our, in a way, our professional personal brand, right? And if this is not complete, you're not kind of sharing your complete story as well. So important that there is you've populated every detail that's required here in a, it's all captured. Yeah. Jumping into the picture as a best practice, I would say, of course, it can be like it has to be like a face shot though, but it can be a 60% of your picture. It need not be your entire, face down till your feet. It doesn't have to be your, like a a picture in a group. It doesn't have to be a selfie. It doesn't have to be a picture with your pet. Of course, we all love them, but doesn't have to come here. And yeah, I mean, if you want to, it has to be a crisp picture, right? Which talks through your personality type, right? If you want to also, if you have a little tongue twisting name, then my suggestion to you would be that on the mobile app that we have for LinkedIn, there is a way in which you can put your pronunciation for the name. You should do that because sometimes global companies do struggle with the right pronunciation. I'm thankful to my parents for using one of the most popular and easy name in India that goes around. And I didn't have to use that. But if you have a tongue twisting name, do try and use it. Also, you can record a small video through the mobile app, which you can, anything that's kind of a short elevator pitch that talks through. Those two features are not here in the here, but you can use them from the mobile app. Coming to the headlines, this again has to be a very crisp, concise one. Make sure that if you're not working currently, that's absolutely fine. But it showcases what you're passionate about, what you care for, and where you would like to be placed. It can be even broad things. A lot of people put up, and then there is these. There are these what you want to talk about, like a lot of hashtags, and this can be again a very comprehensive link, list of things that you like to follow here on LinkedIn, right? I want to just quickly show you a few things where you are open to finding a new job. This is extremely important if you're looking, at very actively for job. I would, suggest you to please click on this feature. What this does is at the backdrop, we do have a recruiter tool, which all organizations have, most organizations have access to. The algorithm of LinkedIn works on the people working, people who have tagged themselves as open for opportunity are usually in the descending order. Their resume kind of is at the top. So that's the best way to do it. So highly encourage you to ensure that you're tagging yourself correctly here. Now, what all can you do here, as in, what are the sections that you can add? The few things in the which is core, right, which is extremely non-negotiable, is so that you're discovered by the recruiter, ensuring that your education, your position is explicitly mentioned. I spoke through career break, and I like to kind of just spend little time here. Would be that I can't emphasize enough of how you can own your story and, in a very authentic and real way, put it out there. Like I said, there are organizations who do kind of respect this. And there are these 13 drop-down options, right, from whether it's retirement, relocation, even, layoff. A lot of people are impacted right now, so that's also been added here. Full-time parenting, let's come to think of it. This is all, everyone goes through it. So if you've taken a break for full-time parenting, it's okay. It's important to put it out there in a clear way. Your headlines again, but if your break was for any other reason, like let's say, you were professionally, doing a course at that point in time, or you were doing any kind of a voluntary work, I would suggest to you that to kind of put up any media or any supporting, links that you have here, just so that it is more comprehensive. The ones that are recommended that gets you a lot more credibility would be to ensure that you're adding all your certificate, your licenses, that you have. If you've done any courses, please do put it out here. We also spoke through how important are recommendations, right? You must give recommendations. I think it's important that you pay it forward as well. So continue to support other returnees to work, right? Additionally, any kind of honors and award, I briefly spoke through, there are self-assessment and you can do it here. If you have, proficiency in more languages, do click here, and, you like to kind of let people know. I know companies who do hire for them. So this is also important that you showcase your, proficiency in more than one language if you have. Yeah, so moving on, what is it that, you can leverage LinkedIn? I'm just kind of taking a short insertion break here. Would be, of course, it's to help you create your professional brand, isn't it? Like that's something which we all know of, right? But it's also how you can also position yourself as a thought leader, right? So how do you do that, right, as a thought leader? And I'll briefly talk through that. Third is, I did speak about that how you kind of gaining insight, making yourself, keeping abreast of all things that are happening around. So LinkedIn is a knowledge marketplace. It's not only to seek opportunities, it's a knowledge marketplace. You can follow organizations, you can follow a lot of hashtag, you can join communities, you can join different groups of your interest, right? These are creator mode that you can keep on if you are interested in projecting yourself as a thought leader. You should regularly put updates. You must post a lot of content, I would suggest to you, and publish data that you feel very strongly about. uh, this is the place where you kind of create those activities, you can create those posts. Quickly scrolling down, this is like a good elevator pitch of about you. It should be detailed. My suggestion to you would be also at the same time keep it very succinct, to the point of what it stands for. You can add a few personal core values, beyond your professional journey that are important to you, right? So this is your space. However, I'll suggest not to keep this very detailed. And if required, you must have this in bullet points then, right? Experience, again, extremely important that even if they were, smaller stints, be proud of your journey at first, right? It's important that you transparently showcase everything that you've, wherever you've worked so far. In fact, LinkedIn has also included skills on the basis of each experience that you've had. So let's say at LinkedIn, my current skills are on the team leadership, thought leadership, sales, right? So you can go into every, experience of yours to update your skills and select up to, 5 skills. I'll request you all to, maybe perhaps later after the session, please do this because we don't know it, but the LinkedIn algorithm does, throw up on the basis of skills. And what we are seeing is the recruiters are 44% of the recruiters, like I said, are searching through skill-based, are doing skill-based hirings, right? So ensure that your skills are adequately mentioned. Yes, and then scrolling down are, assessments. Let's go back. This is the education. Very important that you also put the years because it kind of also shows that what's been the, the timeline and the journey of yours, from your education to your career. And then, of course, that's the place where if there's been any kind of a gap in between, then you can showcase that as a career break, right? Including your licenses and certifications. If you have a premium LinkedIn license, then you can also do LinkedIn courses through that. And this is the place where you put up and showcase your certifications. I think it just adds a bit of a credibility to your profile. So it's an important piece. Please do put it up. It kind of really helped me in my job search. Skills, we've taken this a step further. So while you've said that you have several skills and the list can be as comprehensive, like if you see, I have 32 skill sets mentioned here, maybe assuming that, at that point, the hypothesis was that I didn't want to miss out on any of the job opportunities, right? That comes my way. But I'll recommend that you do go and self-assess yourself on these skills. There is a test that you can take here and assess yourself. Recommendations. Yeah, so pretty much this then, and how you can publish. So for my entrepreneurship, there were a few publications and papers, so I have included them. Languages can be up to 1 additional. So I do have English and I have Hindi here. Yes, I hope that helps, Aditi. Can I stop sharing?
You've absolutely covered, I think, every single point that one could. And because I didn't know about a couple of them myself. So I'm going to after the session, probably update my own profile. Thank you so much for like sharing it and enlightening us on how we can use LinkedIn better. Because of course, I mean, it's the new way of finding a job or any opportunity, and it's interesting to know that I'm sure if you all have any doubt, please put it in the chat box because we'll be taking it up shortly. Um, I think one question would be, how do women initiate a networking, sort of a chat or a conversation on LinkedIn?
Sure, and I know the challenge. Look, the challenge is for real, right? Some of the times are we don't receive the response. We send a lot of emails, but we then don't hear back, right? I think don't take a like that as a rejection or as a roadblock that comes in between. Do multi-thread. So if you haven't heard from the hiring manager, do try and reach out to other stakeholders in the organizations. Look through deeper of where is the need, in the organization, who's hiring. Maybe you want to kind of reach out a business unit head, right? If not the hiring manager and sorry, the TA manager, and kind of similar way, just kind of map the organization and see if there are multiple people that you like to reach out to. And the best practice for sending emails would be to be very pointed, of course, be very brief and upfront as well, that this is a job opportunity that you're seeking and how you're looking up to this aspirational organization, right? And not come from a place of pleading, I would say. And I think that's extremely important, that you kind of stay on the ground of holding up your confidence.
Absolutely. So I think we can like get to the Q&A round because you've covered everything literally that there is to LinkedIn. And if there's any other thing, the more you explore LinkedIn, the more you'll find, because there are like always these YouTube channels that cover things you didn't know exists on LinkedIn or things like that. So follow it for more insight. And Pooja has actually covered everything A to Z, so there's no need as such. But
Additionally, Aditi, I'm sorry, I do see that there are a few technical related questions, where people would revert back. And of course, let's also accept it. I want to keep this very, it is an uncertain time as well from the macro way in which we are navigating, right? It's even more important than before that we continue to, it's okay, continue to invest in ourselves. But there are still a lot of programs that the corporates are running across. And I know Microsoft has a Springboard program, IBM has a tech re-entry program, Accenture had a return to work program as well. There was a WAPSI program by the ThoughtWorks, right? In fact, at the tech end, there is a lot that you can look through. It just seems that that's slightly more, achievable. In fact, the role that I was looking up to, with years of experience by my side, I felt that that was at that point more challenging, right? But if you are from a technical background, then look out for what is that technological enhancement that you can do that can help you quickly get to the job.
absolutely. Thank you, Pooja, for like the extra dose of wisdom. And so Aparna has a question, which is since you also made a transition from an entrepreneur a venture back to the corporate workspace, how should entrepreneurs who probably want to get back to corporate career do it? Because she's in a similar boat, and her fintech based on AI platform, her fintech based startup on AI platform is not working that well, and currently her job search is also not really coming to any fruition. So is there any advice you have for her?
I'm sorry, I forgot. You'll have to say the name again, Aparna, right? Aparna, I, so resonate with you. I was in similar shoes as well. In fact, also resonate you from the entrepreneurship journey. My core business that I was running was also predominantly AI, and they were extremely expensive learning, isn't it? Because everything we were crowdfunded, and we didn't had institutes and VCs investing in us at that point in time. I believed in the idea. We continued supporting the reason until of course we ran out on funds. But I now look back to say that that journey also, like I said, shaped me up for who I became later. Of course, there were a lot of lowlights, but I think a few highlights I can say is I just maybe the problem solving approach, to have a growth mindset, to say never, all that kind of, I think today I look back to say that did shape me as both professionally and personally. And I did speak through on the transferable skills. And I think what an entrepreneur can gain, the enhancement that it does on the transferable skills, no other job can, right? Because you're literally learning from, you're paying your own money for it. So you're in the right space, Aparna. I wish you the best, and I am sure that whichever interview you land yourself, do talk through these skills. And if you haven't showcased those skills accurately on your profile, please do that. In fact, we're also capturing transferable skills in our profile now. It's in beta version, but soon LinkedIn will have a search engine by algorithm will be searched through transferable skills too. So yeah, I hope that answers, Aditi.
It's incredible to see the range of inclusivity that LinkedIn actually offers. After that, I think you covered most of the questions that we have is about how to change your domain after a career gap, and I think you've beautifully covered it. It's by upskilling yourself, trying to find out every single way. There are a lot of organizations that run these returnship programs, not just for jobs but also for upskilling, and most of them are also available for free. So Google is your best friend. Probably just use it and get in touch with the kind of certification or program that would be beneficial for you. On that note, we would also like to announce that we are planning to give out 2 free LinkedIn Premium subscriptions to the women present here. So we'll be making the selection and we'll be very transparent. But for that, listen closely. So for that, you have to make a post on LinkedIn, and you can talk about how the session went for you. If you learned anything, if you didn't, I mean, just pour your heart out and make use of the posts tab of LinkedIn and create a post, because that is also one thing that we learned here, to create your own branding and positioning on LinkedIn. So create a post that sort of shows how your experience was today, and do tag Pooja and aspire for her, and we'll go through it. We also have Ruchita ma'am, who has just joined in.
Hi, Ruchita.
Can you hear me, Ruchita ma'am?
Hey, hi Pooja. Lovely to see you. As promised, I've come, although it's in the end.
No problem, Ruchita. And of course,
I'm
you
sure.
can take a download from Aditi later. I just hope it's been a good use of everyone's time here on the event.
Yes. No, I'm sure it always is. And I'm sure the chat box, as usual, must be full with questions. Am I right, Aditi? I've not seen it though.
Yeah,
But
absolutely. And I mean, Pooja has covered almost literally everything. So don't think people even have doubts. But if you do have doubts, put it in the chat. We'll address it after the session, probably mail you the answers or something. And we also have a short poll.
So I have a question for Pooja, Aditi. And while Pooja and me, and this is for the larger audience, while Pooja and me were discussing about the session, and I was talking to her about the 3 M's that, women normally face. I'm also one recipient of the 3 M's. Pooja, which is the 4th M? Now, I think, have you disclosed it, or you're yet to disclose the 4th M?
You're late to the party,
She
dear.
has.
I did. And it's something very close to my heart. It is, something that is a mother reason for all that we have in marriage, maternity, and mobility. Of course, those are the 3 M's. But I think taking care of your mental health, right, is extremely important as well.
Yes.
We don't prioritize that, in women especially. I think hustling around in the cape that we like to wear of being a super woman, we just sometimes tend to, drop it. So I did speak through my journey, and maybe Ruchita, on a side note, we can exchange that note again. I'd love to share it.
Oh, that is fantastic. And I think for the larger audience, I also want to, share this. So when Pooja and me were talking about the session which we want for returnees, and I also set the background that we have a lot of organizations who are coming only to hire returnees. Returnees are very hot property at the moment. But then that one question which she asked me, and I said, actually, it's not there, is what about my gap years? Have I showcased that on my profile? And the answer is that while I have mentioned it loud and clear that yes, I have a gap of how many years, but I actually did not say what I was doing what I did in those years. And I'm sure, Pooja, you would have covered it. I'll have to catch a recording of this because that's the next thing I intend to write on my LinkedIn.
Thanks, Ruchita. And I encourage the entire, quorum here today to go back to do this because, we all have to own our story. It's extremely important to be proud of our journey. Like I said, that, our experiences shape us up both professionally and personally. In fact, career break now we have these 13 drop down reasons because, you can never cover it up, isn't it? And while we've tried to say that the impact is because of the 3 M's or perhaps the 4th M that I introduced today, there is a lot more, right? And come to think of it, globally in foreign countries, people also give up their careers to sometimes travel around, right? And that's not something that we even think, and we are not brave or courageous enough to even think about that. We feel that it's going to be a big taboo, right? I think time to kind of just put the needle on us. We need to own our journey and also present our profile in the same way. It's going to be eventually your attitude and aptitude, your own confidence that's going to land you in the job. So I think it's got to do a lot with your rewiring of mentally. Yeah, I think that should be my parting note. I just hope and that it's been good. And the last would be, Aditi, I love to also forward, there is a talent blog, and thanks for posting it out there. I encouraged the group again to look through it. This is a huge repository of the resources that we have. Like I said, it's a very important element to be abreast with your surroundings, to be aware what's happening, what's the latest in the industry, what's buzzing, what's the community that you should be joining. My suggestion to each one of you would be to go into that. There's a lot of data insights, community products, and of course on your own learning and development, where is it that you can double down on? This is an external facing resource. So do click at that, do review it. It's a very extensive one. So I'm happy to kind of share that. Also, we have a cheat sheet, a one pager of how you can enhance your profile. What are the few quick fixes that you can do? Have you shared that as well, Aditi?
Yes, Pooja, I've shared both of them.
Awesome. Yes, I think these are two parting documents.
I'll give you some time to copy and paste the links. Please do that. And also I launch a short poll because we would love to know how you found the session so that we can curate a deeper, richer session going forward, which is more catered to your taste. Just like this session that we had. And we have more exciting things coming up. So I'll just launch the polls and request you all to please respond.
And Aditi, don't forget to ask everyone to switch on their cameras for a lovely picture.
Yes, please, because we would love you all to show your gratitude to Pooja, who has been such a beautiful, amazing, she's literally poured her heart out and has held nothing back. She shared her journey from literally the deepest parts of her. And it's beautiful to see because nobody has been so open and, unfiltered. So thank you so much, Pooja, for being you and for, motivating everybody here who has been struggling in their own way to get back to work. It's been a great help. So please switch on your video so that we can take a nice little picture. And
thank you, Aditi. Would you have to take us off the pin mode? I think you'll have to unpin us. Isn't it okay?
You're on mute, Aditi.
I'm just putting everyone on gallery mode. Okay, I think. Which time I was also there.
He said, why can't I see her though?
She's
Oh, right.
I must be in some corner from the car. It must be coming on very small.
yeah. It was great. It was lovely having all of you here, and thank you so much for joining in, for tuning in, and thank you so much, Pooja. Again, I know.
Pleasure's mine. This is a cause very close to my heart. At some point, somebody, I had, it's always about women helping women, isn't it? I strongly believe in that. And somebody kind of helped me. It's little that I can do to pay it forward. So thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much. And I know you have a hard stop at 5. You have another meeting. But it was lovely having you here. And don't forget to put on the LinkedIn post and tag Pooja and AFH. And we'll see you on the other side of LinkedIn Premium. Just remember that we'll be giving out 2 LinkedIn Premium. So
Wow, amazing.
yeah, the best ones gonna win.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to the team of Aspire for Her. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. Thank you for supporting the community. I'm happy to kind of they find this impactful. I'm happy to do this every time that you want me to. This is, like I said, I can do this on a repeat mode because I truly resonate with this cause. So thank you again for having me. Talk to you all soon. Thank you.
Talk to you soon. See you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
For our attendees, I would really request you all to please respond to the poll because it helps us curate a more audience-centric content. And
Are you seeing poll responses, Aditi?
Yeah, I am. I've just
Fantastic.
sent. I'm left with around 40%. It's okay. We have the time in the world. Thank you for joining in. And if there is any other session that you want us to host, please reach out to us. I'm sure you have access to the Telegram. I hope you do have access to it. Follow us on Telegram. Join our Aspire for Her community. Follow us on LinkedIn. The Return to Work LinkedIn page also keeps on posting returnee content. So do follow it, and you're unable to tag Pooja. Okay. Then you can tag Aspire for Her, or you can tag me.
Yeah, and we can tag Pooja in that then.
Pooja.
That works.
My name is Aditi Anand. If you type, you might find it. Okay. Are you all still filling the? We have one person who hasn't filled. Thank you, Alpna. Thank you, Shruti. Thank you, Varsha. Okay. The recording will be uploaded on YouTube, so check it out. It will be uploaded very shortly. So you just have to go on YouTube and type Aspire for Her. You'll see the recording. Thank you, everyone. I think we'll end the session now. Thanks for joining in. All right, Shruti, see you.